Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to American Truck Simulator, and welcome to Eugene, Oregon. And also, I'm going to give it one more try. This is the Viper 389. It updated today. It is now 2.2.2, and it seems like we got the mirrors fixed. Inside now, we're at 60 FPS. He says in the notes for the new release for 2.2.2, he says he got the mirrors fixed. They certainly seem to be. We're at 60 FPS. Now, to be fair, I did have on here earlier, I had the chrome air pipes on top of the air cleaners, which adds another big chrome band. And when you're inside, like right now, looking at the top of the air cleaner, it's just blue paint. Used to be a big chrome band, and then the air pipe was chrome as well. I also had chrome mirrors with the secondary mirror underneath, and I had two mirrors up front. So, fair is fair. I pulled a lot of the reflective surfaces off, and he fixed the mirrors. So I figured, we'll meet in the middle. He fixed the mirrors. I pulled some extra reflective surfaces off, and man, I really want this truck to work. I love this truck, and I want it to work. That is one thing. The other thing is, in 1.32, for ATS and ETS, it says that they're rendering the game differently and trying to speed it up a little bit. Well, right now I have Reshade and SweetFX turned off. Let me turn it on. That's too dark. Is it not? That I don't like the way that looks. That's too dark. And like the leaves on the trees are kind of blown out. I don't know. I'm going to need to go in and play with the settings a little bit. But for now, I'm running with Reshade and SweetFX off until I find a way to configure it again. So that's thing number 2. Thing number 3 is, let me see how we're doing on sleep. We don't have to sleep for almost 14 hours, and it is noon. So let's get a job and let's explore Oregon a little bit. And I can tell you that I drove this morning. I started in Redding. I drove this morning, and it was good. I had some crashes outside Lakeview. Where's that? Okay. I mean, that's back down where we came from. 354 miles. You want to take it, or you want to go up north? I tried to head up to Portland today, and I was getting game crashes between Salem and Portland. And then I tried to go around this way up to the Dales, and then west to Portland. I got crashes again. So let's not mess with it. Let's go to Bend. And we own garages now in Eugene and Burns. Let's go through Bend down to Lakeview. Job pays pretty good, 15 grand. Let's do it. Where's this one going? Coos Bay. Let's go here. We'll see more of the place. Right, so this is a pretty big truck for this kind of a little job. But you know what, man? It's been a morning. It's been a scene. Let's just do it. And I think we're good on fuel. Yeah, let's just do it. Now you can see we've got a lot of things painted blue. We've got a blue visor. We've got blue window trim. We've got blue mirror stocks. We've got a lot of blue on the truck. I'm on the fence about that. In one way, it does have the sort of, I don't know if you're into American hot rods at all, but American hot rods, let me see. I think our map might be zoomed wrong. Nope, that's right. American hot rods, there is a look that you can get with an American hot rod where basically you're trying to intentionally look like you just rattle canned the whole thing with primer from Walmart. It's a specific and intentional kind of look for a hot rod, and you can sort of see a similar look sometimes in old school trucks like the one that we're in. But the thing about it is it has to be intentional. You know what I'm saying? It can't look like it just turned out that way. It has to look like you intentionally rattle canned the truck to give it that hot rod look. And I feel like we're not quite there right now. So I may make some of these things chrome again at some point just to make it look not quite so, I don't know. I feel like it's just not quite right. If we were maybe matte gray, you know, if we were like a primer gray, maybe that would be different. But I feel like we're not, I don't like the look of all the blue. I haven't skinned this truck yet either. I barely got it working, but I'm going to skin it with our regular JP trucking, how I set up all my trucks in ATS. So we'll get that done, and we'll see how it looks. We'll make it work. I love this truck. This truck is like dating a crazy person. I don't know if you've ever dated a crazy person in your life. Are we making a, we're making a left here. Okay. I don't know if you've ever dated a crazy person. Crap. All right. We may get a ticket. Oh. We may get a ticket because we made a left from the right lane through a red left turn indicator. That ain't too cool. So I don't know if you've ever dated a crazy person, but that's what this truck reminds me of. It's like, oh, this truck is so awesome except for this one terrible thing. If we could just get this terrible thing sorted out, it would be perfect. And that's where we're at. So if we can get the frame rate and some of the other things with this truck sorted out, then it will be perfect. And it will be my favorite truck because it's the only truck mod that I've ever found in ATS that lets you have the 36-inch flat top coffin box sleeper. The 389s, the base game 389s from SCS have just a little bit of rise to the sleeper, and it's not the true flat top. And also, they don't have the 36-inch coffin, which I'm told, if you're going to run a 389 and you want it to have that old school hot rod look, you've got to have the coffin box. You can't have the extended sleeper. So this truck has options that you cannot get in any other 389, and for that reason, it's like, I really want it to work. I need it to work. But it's challenging. It's problematic. But we'll make it work. We always do. The second thing is reshade, as you can see. I know this is the Oregon DLC, and I'm barely talking about Oregon, but hey, you know what? It's the way things work out sometimes. The other thing is reshade in SweetFX. You know, it could be that the way that they have redone some of the rendering for 1.32, it could be that we don't need reshade in SweetFX anymore. Could be. You know, I know there are, wow, man, I have one racing sim, it's like Race Room or R Factor or something, that essentially has reshade on board. Like, that's what they use for their native rendering, you know, or native post-processing, however you want to say it. And it's like, okay, all right, that, you know, saves me the trouble of having to do it. And you lose a little bit of flexibility because now you've got their settings instead of your own. But hey, you know what? If it looks good and the frame rate stays high, I don't care. Doesn't bother me. So I think that may be where we're at right now, where we just don't need reshade anymore. I mean, to me, this looks a little bit washed out, but keep in mind, we're also really used to seeing this game with the reshade SweetFX post-processing, you know, with that render. So could be, I don't know. But I can also tell you we picked up about 10 FPS, and you know how I am about FPS. So for us to be we're at 60 FPS right now. It's not a big city, but we're in a city at 60 FPS in the Viper 389, and that is like, that's a trifecta, man. That's a holy grail. So we'll take it. And it looks like we're heading over here. Couldn't get to the turn signal in time, but I didn't ignore it. I just couldn't get to it. So yeah, man, a lot of cool things going. I did drive from Reading up to, whoa. Oh. I did drive from Reading up to Portland. Well, I tried to. I had to eventually drop the job because I couldn't get into Portland. It seemed like every direction I came from, we had a crash. So had to let it go. I had to crash that Honda. Fireworks to Lakeview. You know what? We're in this big truck. Why don't we take a big trailer? We do. I mean, it's fireworks. They don't need to be refrigerated, do they? You wouldn't think. Here's a 3-axle dry van. Are we making this too complicated? Are we? We don't need to be insulated. 3-axle dry van. Where'd it go? There it is. Let's take it. And I believe that is a base game trailer, so hopefully we don't have any problems with it. Where is it? There it is. I'm going to do this from outside. I'm going to do it from outside because I've had enough problems today, I have to tell you. And you know what? It's gaming. It's gaming. I say that and then I catch myself and it's like, no, man, there's people today having real problems, like life-changing, you know, big deal kind of problems. We're not having big problems. We're playing video games, so I don't want to ever sound like I'm disrespecting somebody's situation. Wow. Nice reverse lights on the headache. I don't ever want to sound like I'm disrespecting somebody's problems when I talk about, you know, oh, gaming's tough. It's really not. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass. It can be frustrating, but it's really not that big a deal. So, get that going. Got it in one. That always makes me happy. Let's go ahead and drop our axle. I don't know. Let's see what our weight is here. 26,000. No. Nope. So, 354 miles. Is the brake on? No, brake is off. Really? Okay. We are hooked up, are we not? Well, this is crazy. We are hooked up. Well, we must be hooked up or we would just be driving away from it. I don't think this has ever happened to me. Huh. How odd. Let's try it with the lift axle down. You know what? I can honestly say this has never happened to me before. Okay, let's take a look in here. Trailer air is on. All right, let's try this. Let's go back outside. Lift this. Let's unhook and see what the problem is here. Oh. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. You saw nothing. Yep, that was the problem. We were on the Kingpin, but we had not brought the landing gear up or connected the air hoses. You saw nothing. You saw nothing. I wasn't even here that day. Right. So, let's get turned around and get out of here. This guy, he was watching me the whole time. You know he was. Now, let's get out of here without scraping. This truck has the turning radius approximately of an aircraft carrier. That's all right. Up on the curb, as long as we don't hit the pole, I'm okay. Here we go. Okay, well that was exciting. Great way to start a video. Welcome to Oregon. You know what? Everybody in Oregon smokes a tree, so I would say I was just so high I forgot to hook up the lines and lift the landing gear. You know, as you do. I've also got this fancy window trim over here, and I can't see anything out the side window. Now, a good friend of mine drives a 389, and I remember asking him when I first got into ATS. I remember asking him, like, man, you know, it's weird. The visibility is horrible in this truck. And he's like, no, that's accurate. You can't see anything in a 389. So, SCS nailed it. Man, I'm half tempted to like go back and restart this video, but I'm not going to, because my whole thing is moment. My whole thing is I want you to see like the actual gaming experience of me. I don't want to edit it down to something perfect. Want it to be legit, yo. So, what was I saying before I... Oh, I'm so embarrassed about that. I really, really am. What was I saying? I was saying about 20 minutes, 25 minutes to get this thing delivered. And hopefully we'll see some nice scenery on the way down, and hopefully we won't have any crashes. And one thing I can tell you is I'm absolutely sure that if I was running base game with just Oregon DLC and no mods, that there would be no crashes whatsoever. So, you know, it's inevitable that in the next, I don't know, week or 10 days, there'll probably be some hot fixes and various things for Oregon. It's, wait a minute. Oh, man. I'm just the worst truck driver today. I really am. Also, Doc Brown and the DeLorean just passed us. I don't know if you caught that. So I did have crashes getting into Portland, but I understand that a big part of that is most likely because of all the mods that I'm running. And I say, you know, oh, I run a ton of mods in ETS. I hardly run any in ATS. But it's crept up as I've started spending more time in the workshop. It used to be I was running like 75 mods in ETS and maybe 15 or 20 in ATS, and it's probably closer to 40 or 50 in ATS now. So that's inevitably you're going to have conflicts, but I promise you, if I was just running base game with the Oregon DLC, I don't think we would have had any crashes at all. So that's just, you know, that's the mod lifestyle. What can you do? This says we want to be in this lane. Can do. Also says it wants us to be going 45. We can do that as well. So yeah, man, what I can tell you about Oregon and what I really noticed driving up from Redding up toward Salem, we getting off? Yep. Was I started thinking about driving from Arizona into Southern California, and then from like Los Angeles up through the Central Valley, and then from the Central Valley into NorCal, and then NorCal into Southern Oregon. And I was realizing like it really does, the terrain and the look and feel of the map really does evolve as you drive. You know, it changes drastically, but it changes very slowly. So from like end to end, it's a drastic difference in scenery, but from tile to tile, it's very subtle. And I think that's extremely immersive and very lifelike, because that's how it would be in real life. It's not like you just suddenly drive from the desert into the rainforest. Buddy, what are you doing? There's a little two-wheeler back here. It's not like you just suddenly drive from the desert into the rainforest. It's a transition, and it takes 800 miles. So I think it's awesome that the game developers and the game designers have set it up so that, yes, you do absolutely go from one type of terrain, one type of scenery to another, but you do it slowly over time, and you don't really notice it. You just notice when you get there, I guess, if that makes sense. So I think it's really, really well done. And I also noticed, and if you've spent a lot of time on this map, you'll have to tell me, but I also noticed that from Redding up toward Hornbrook, which is still in California and still base game map, no DLC, I feel like I was seeing a lot more mountains. And I started thinking about 1.32 and wondering, like, when 1.32 came in, did it change the scenery from Redding north before you get to Oregon to sort of prep for the DLC, if that makes sense? Like, because Oregon is so mountainous, and California is pretty mountainous too, but you know what I mean? can base game maps change through a patch to accommodate an upcoming DLC? I think that's, yeah, I think I said that right. So you'll have to tell me if you spent a lot of time on the map. Let me know if it looks different up north of Reading, because I swore it was not that mountainous before, but in fairness, we haven't spent a ton of time up around Hornbrook. I can also tell you that from what I've seen so far of the Oregon road structure, it's really tight, and it's a lot more dense than any other parts of ATS that I've ever seen. I have to say that it's almost got an ETS feel to it, where it's got a lot of really tight roads, and you make sort of tight lefts and rights, like go a couple of blocks or just a few hundred meters and make a turn, 90-degree turn, and then go another couple hundred meters and make another 90-degree turn. And it's got a kind of a tight, like urban feel to it that I really have not seen a whole lot of, I don't think, in ATS before. ATS has been more of that wide open sort of freeway, you know, get it up to 60 or 70 miles an hour and set the cruise control feel. I feel like there hasn't been a lot of that real tight kind of industrial urban feel. Maybe a little bit around San Francisco, but I would say that's one of the only places. So if you're into Oregon, let me know if you can feel a difference like I did, because I mean, I could be imagining it, who knows, but I feel like it's different. And then that got me thinking about, man, how do I want to say this? So this is an artistic project, right? Like, we may not dwell on it, but making a video game is like making a movie or writing a novel or anything else. It's creative, and you have an art director, you have a project manager, you know, you have a producer, you have a director. It's just like a movie. And even though this is based on something real, like Oregon obviously is a real place, even though this is based on something real, how your team interacts and who your art director is and who your graphic designers are, and even who goes out to Oregon and like takes pictures and shoots video and, you know, sort of documents this place that you're going to recreate in a video game. All of those people are going to leave their mark on the final project, right? So I was thinking, man, Oregon has a different feel to it. It's a different state. It's meant to have a different feel to it. But I was thinking about, you know, how long this game has been in development and how long it will continue to be in development. And I thought, well, what if the project manager for Oregon is a person who's new to the team? Or what if, you know what I mean? And it got me thinking, like, how do different art directors and different creative directors change the way that this DLC and future DLC are going to feel to us? And I started trying to spot, like, has this all been made by the same team? Because, you know, SCS has really grown in the past few years. One of the numbers that I heard is it went from 8 people to like 80 people. And I think if that's the case, you know, you may not have the same person working on the Oregon DLC as ran the project to make like the New Mexico DLC or whatever. So it's not just that the actual place that they're creating or recreating is different. It's that the people that are building it for the game, that may be a different team. So let me know about that as well. I mean, does this look like the same crew, do you think, that made New Mexico? Because it's got a kind of a different look and feel to it. So I don't know. I do think it's awesome, though. It's in the Steam store, and I thought it was going to be $19.99, and it was $11.99, which is super cool. I don't mind saving $8. $8 is $8, yo. So stoked about that. And it's 350 meg, and it's supposed to have like 5,000 miles of road in it, and 700 new buildings, and 25 freeway interchanges, and all these crazy things that were listed in the notes. But then it ended up only being 350 meg. So good on them, man. They said that they were trying to speed the game up a little bit. This Viper that we're in is 600 meg, and the entire Oregon DLC was 350. So data compression is no joke, yo. But yeah, I'm really loving this. And this is I've spent time in Oregon, and this definitely has kind of an Oregon feel to it, right down to the color of the soil on the side of the road. So, yeah, man, digging it. Really, really glad I got this. And just to compare, I'm going to throw reshade back on. I don't know. I don't think we want to use it till we get it adjusted. That looks a little dark to me and kind of washed out. I don't like the way the trees look. You know, they look gray and black. They don't look green. So, yeah, man. Living and learning. Every day living and learning. Just figuring it out like we do. So, I think this is going to be a pretty scenic trip. Well, till the sun goes down in a couple hours, and then it's just going to be dark. But I think we're getting away from cities, and we're going to be spending quite a bit of time out in the countryside, which is fine. I mean, I do definitely want to get to Portland. At the moment, we can't, but I do definitely want to get up that way. And I've also been really, as I was driving earlier today, I was thinking, what's the next DLC? And you can't say Washington because, you know, New Mexico was the previous one. And a lot of people said, well, of course they'll go to Texas next. That didn't happen. We went to Oregon, so you think, okay, we're in Oregon, we'll go to Washington next. And then it's like, oh, or not, you know, that maybe now we will go back to Texas. I personally think Texas has to be next. It has to. It's too big, it's too diverse, and it's too American. Like when people, I've spent a lot of time overseas, and when people overseas think of America, they think of New York City, they think of Los Angeles, and they think of Texas. So I think Texas is next. Could be Washington, could be the Rocky Mountain states too. I've thought about that possibility, that they would sort of fill in the middle. But Texas, my money's on Texas. All those other places are a possibility, but my money's on Texas. So that's one thing. Now today's Thursday. Normally I post ATS on Saturday. Hang on a minute. Let me do something here. Had to do a little screenshot. Had to do a screenshot because I've been forgetting to do that. And I don't want to get into like photo manager and everything else. I just need something quick. What the hell was I just saying? I completely forgot. Man, I hate when I do that. Just totally spaced it. Oh well. I don't know. No, I don't know. I was trying to bring it back, but it's gone. It's gone. Now, I am going to turn off reshade in ETS because these run on essentially the same technology, and they both just patched up to 1.32. I'm gonna turn reshade off and see how it looks, how ETS looks, and if we pick up any FPS. Although we really haven't had a lot of FPS problems in ETS, we've been able to hold pretty high. But I'm excited to be able to run the Viper and not have those FPS problems. A little Oregon Highway Patrol. I've seen sedans like that. I've also seen SUVs. And I think we're about to get a green light. No, we got it. Just a second here. Check out all the lights on this thing. We've got the Ghost Ring BMW style DRLs up front. We've got, oh man, I love it. People be like, ill will, you should put more lights on that truck. And I'm like, joke's on you, there aren't any more lights. I think I don't have every slot filled. I don't typically do that. But I do have, I think, a nice spread of lights. I don't like to completely make my trucks ridiculous, but especially American trucks. And I mean, I personally know truck drivers, and I've been in their trucks and seen their trucks and ridden in their trucks. And it is if you spend that many weeks of the year driving your truck, well, a couple things happen. One thing is you go a little bit crazy, but not necessarily in a bad way. And the other thing that happens is you tend to make it as personal as you would your home, because in a way it sort of is your home. So yeah, they love the lights. American truck drivers love the lights, but it's got to be It's got to be, it's got to have the right look to it. And I think, yep, that looks like, nope. I thought that was a highway patrol SUV in front of us, but it's just a car. Yeah. Yep. And we got the little LED blinkers. There we go. So yeah, there were a lot of, I wouldn't quite say like false starts or anything, but I got this about 10:30 this morning, and it's like 4 in the afternoon right now. So it took me the better part of like 4 or 5 hours to get everything sorted out and squared away. And that's something I really didn't anticipate when I started recording videos for YouTube. I didn't anticipate that if you want to stay on schedule, like when I'm just gaming for myself, if the game's giving me problems, whatever, man, I'll go do something else. You know, I'll go to the gym or I don't know, go for a run, whatever, work. I guess I could get some work done, but I don't have to stick with it. I don't have to make it happen. I can just come back to it later. But when you're trying to stay on a schedule, it's like, no. You can't walk away from it. You just have to keep hacking at it until you make it work. So yeah, I put some hours into getting this all sorted out. And I think I might remember what I was saying earlier, which is normally I record ATS on Friday and I post it on Saturday. Today is Thursday and I'm recording this. I'm going to post it tomorrow because it's the Oregon DLC. Friday was typically racing day, but I don't have my wheels, so we haven't been doing as many race sims on Friday. So I'm going to post this tomorrow, maybe MotoGP tomorrow, because we've been doing that. Fake me out with the red light on the green arrow. Maybe MotoGP tomorrow. And then I'll probably record another episode of this tomorrow and post it on Saturday. Is that an old Firebird? Sure is. R.I.P. Burt Reynolds, yo. Missed that guy already. So, yeah, so you may get back-to-back ATS videos. And we'll try to get Portland working. See if I can find the break in the chain. I checked my crash logs, and I didn't see anything really jumping out at me, so I don't know. Could be mod, could be the DLC just needs a little tweak. Who knows? Right, and I think, yeah, 6 o'clock. Little drop in FPS there, and I can tell you part of that is we do have the... Oh! We do have the... Well, I have my brights on for one thing. We do have the red light up here in the cab. Where is it? Yeah, it's somewhere. You know what I mean. We've got the internal kind of soft glow red light in the cab, and for some reason, I don't know why exactly, but for some reason, that single light in the cab can definitely affect your frame rate. So, what can you do? And we're actually, wow, I don't know why. We've still got probably another 10 minutes to go, and we're already at 35 minutes for the video, so I'm gonna just keep rolling, yo. We'll see what happens. Now, I think, yeah, I mean, the mini-map is showing we've been down this road before when I was exploring earlier, so that's cool. And I'm hoping that we end up going through that very tight, twisty section with all those lefts and rights that I was talking about earlier, because that was really cool. And it made me wonder, like, how frustrated do truck drivers get when they have to do that? My friend who is a truck driver told me that we were talking about transmissions, and anytime I build a truck, I'm like, hey man, this is what I'm thinking of building. Is this legit? Like, is this something you would actually have? And he talks to me about like wheelbases and lift axles and various things, like, just so I can try to keep my trucks accurate. But he said there's more and more automatic transmissions coming online in the U.S., and these old truck drivers love it because their knees are all banged up from driving a big rig clutch for 30 years. So it's like an evolving technology to be able to have an automatic transmission that's strong enough to put in a truck. And, you know, you would think truck drivers would be like, oh, you know, these kids today, they driving automatic transmissions. But he's like, they don't complain about it at all. They think it's awesome because it hurts so bad, physically hurts for them to drive a manual transmission in a big rig. They love the automatics. So we'll see. I don't know if there will ever be automatics in ATS. I mean, I'm guessing when the next wave of trucks comes through, I don't know when that'll be, but you know what I mean. Like when they just brought out the next gen Scania in ETS. So I'm thinking at some point there will be newer trucks in ATS. And when that happens, I don't know. Maybe they'll have automatics. I don't know. I know you can get automatics in ETS, but I always row my own gears, even in trucks where you can get an automatic. I don't know why. I don't know. It's just a habit, I guess. So, try to stay on the right side of the road. How are we doing on sleep? We don't have to sleep for 7 hours, and we'll be there in 3 hours, which, like I said, that's about 10 minutes of a real time. So we'll go ahead and finish this one off. Even if it's a long video, I'll go ahead and finish it off. I don't like, well, if it was a long trip, if we were going from like, you know, Gallup, New Mexico to Oxnard or something, then sure, you need to sleep. It's just too long a trip. But for something like this, let's just go ahead and knock it out. And it's, I mean, it's pretty dark. It's going on 7 p.m. in game. It's getting pretty dark, but we can still see all right. And hopefully we'll be able to see just about till we get into this little town. Still have some daylight. But again, and I hadn't even thought about this, but check this out. That's how dark it is when we throw reshade back on. So it definitely, I mean, this does look a little bit washed out. Can't say I'm crazy about it, but I'm less crazy about that. That looks like Chernobyl now. I don't know. Just not digging it like I used to. So I'll go in and see if I can change some settings around and make reshade as pretty as it used to be. Because I really did, for the longest time, I really did prefer it. But it could be that the game is rendering differently now and we just don't need reshade anymore. And if that's the case, no problem. We'll just keep rolling with the changes. What else is new in Oregon? Oh, I've seen some truck stops, particularly on the I-5 freeway up north of Redding. I've seen some truck stops. They're like the biggest truck stops I've ever seen in this game. There was one of them, you know, the little blue icon for like, you can sleep here. There were so many. There were probably 10 of them. Like, I've really never seen that many places to sleep in one truck stop. So that seems new. And it does say in the notes for DLC, for Oregon DLC, it does say that there are some big truck stops. So, yep, there definitely are. Right, and we got not too far to go. Not too far to go. Hang in there with me, game. No crashes. Right. What else? I think that's about it. Yeah. I'm super stoked that this came out, and yeah, there's really no other way to describe it. I was looking forward to it in a way that I've never really looked forward to any DLC previously. I'm just stoked about this, and I can't wait for Beyond the Baltic Sea. And I think I'm definitely going to download Beyond the Baltic Sea and then wait on Pro Mods for a while. And if Pro Mods for 1.32 comes out before Beyond the Baltic Sea, I'm just going to wait for Pro Mods. I want to get Beyond the Baltic Sea in and running and make sure everything is smooth on a base game map before I bring in Pro Mods. Since Pro Mods already has the Baltic states, what do we got? You got your Latvia, you got your Lithuania, you got your Estonia. That's already in Pro Mods, so I'm assuming that for Pro Mods for 1.32, they'll take those out, maybe? I don't know, because there is overlap. Like, there was Pro Mods for Italy before the Italia DLC. There was Pro Mods for France before the Vive la France DLC. And there is Pro Mods that goes, like, past what... Moment. Concentrating. There are cities in Scandinavia in Pro Mods that go sort of, like, above and beyond what is included in the Scandinavia DLC. So, I don't know. I don't know if Pro Mods is going to work with Beyond the Baltic Sea DLC, or if it's going to replace it, or if it's like one or the other. I don't know. But I feel like for me personally, I want to get the DLC up and running because it comes from SCS, and it's like it's all made to run together. And once it's up and running, only then will I bring in Pro Mods. I just noticed something. Oh, here we go. Nice little sunset. Beautiful. In fact, let's try this. See if I can do this without killing myself. Okay. Back in cap. Map back on. Grab a couple gears. Here we go. Yes. Sorry, I was taking pictures out the window. So we'll see. But I think we've got a few minutes to think about that because I haven't even seen a notification for release date for Beyond the Baltic Sea. I'm thinking sometime in November, but who knows? Who knows? Right, so another couple of minutes we'll be in. What's the name of this town? Lakeview? Lakewood? Lakehurst? We're almost there. Oh, fantastic. I've got mail. And I don't know if you saw last episode, we had like $700,000. We have $29,000 right now. I bought this truck for one thing. I bought 2 garages and then I expanded both of them. So we spent, I don't know, $500,000 on garages plus this truck. So we're out of money, but I think we'll be okay because we've got enough trucks and enough trailers and enough garages now that we shouldn't have to spend any money for a while, and we've got a bunch of drivers making good money, and we've got enough trucks now that we can hire more drivers and make even more money. So I think we'll be okay. We're not going to go broke. If we do, we can always sell a truck because we have way too many. Yep. Game is actually playing super smooth right now, and I know we picked up some frame rate from disabling reshade, which I love. I love it. I run it on almost all of my sims, but it's not perfect, and sometimes it's not even, you don't even need it. Like, I ran reshade SweetFX in F1 2017, but I'm not running it in F1 2018. You just don't need it. So we'll see. And it could just be that it needs to be configured differently. It could be that we don't need it at all. We'll find out soon enough, I suppose. All right. Well, I'm glad we're going to get in before it's completely dark, because that's no fun. I know what that email is. Maybe. I know what that email is. It's one of our drivers, Mimi, I think. It's Mimi telling me, you got to give me another truck, or I'm going to go find another job. And the reason she's telling me that is because when this Viper 389, so close. When this Viper 389 patched up, Like when I started the game today, it was listed as a missing mod. 2.2.1 just went away. Now normally a workshop item upgrades itself, right? Like updates itself. This one didn't, it just disappeared. So I had to go in and manually find version 2.2.2, which I think just released yesterday. But in the meantime, the truck that it gave us, like as a kind of a, it just gives you a basic truck when a mod truck disappears. It just gives you a basic truck so you can keep your driver in something. Well, I sold that one because what I found was the truck that it gives you, the truck that the game gives you to replace a mod truck that is gone, if you try to sleep, the dispatcher can't assign a job or a driver to that truck and it crashes the game. So anytime you see a truck where the brand is NA for not available, go ahead and sell that, or it'll crash the game when you sleep. But then that put a driver out of work. And even though we got this new truck to replace the other one, we haven't swapped the drivers around and assigned them yet. So I'll check that email when we get in. I'm pretty sure that's from Mimi. But I'll put her in the 567. Yeah. I'll put her in that, put her back to work. Hopefully she doesn't quit between now and then. She was kind of mad yesterday, I think, in-game yesterday, a few hours ago before I slept, telling me, like, if you don't put me to work, I'm going to find somebody else. So hopefully we get her before she quits, because she's leveled up quite a bit. And I'd hate to have to start over with a new driver that would need to level up. I don't know what she's at, like level 15 or something. But we'll do what we can. And also, I don't know if you've noticed this, but we are not having lag spikes anymore, and I am so happy about that. Those were making me absolutely crazy every time that happened. All right, we're here. Now, in the interest of not dragging this video out any longer than it already is, and because of what happened when we picked up our job at the yard, really, let's not talk about that. But I'm just going to pull this thing in and skip unloading because we got to get done. We're already at almost an hour. So let's just get this delivered. How we get there? So we can't turn in here, eh? Okay, it's telling us to go down and around and around. All right, that's what you want. Let me turn reshade back on just to compare. Yeah, yep, that either needs to be reconfigured or it's gotta go away for a while. I prefer the way the game is handling its post-processing. I don't really like the way reshade is looking at the moment. Says we're going to FedEx. Okay. Interesting. Okay. And first time I've seen that. That is the first time I've seen an opening gate. And that, I don't have that as a mod, so I think that's base game. Okay. Don't hook the post. Okay, I don't know if I can get this in there. And it's not giving me the skip delivery option. Well, we'll just do what we can. Yeah, the wheelbase on this truck is just next level. It's so long and hard to turn. All right. Turn your volume down. Here comes the beeper. I know what I want to do. I just don't know if I can do it. Oh no. Okay. Right. Let's get some air going. Man, this has turned out to be like episode and a half. So we're going to take one more swing at it. I can't even get to the menu where it's going to let me skip. We're missing out somewhere. It's a pretty exciting video, isn't it? You're digging it the most right now. You're like, man, I wish I was sitting in a truck just revving the engine. I bet you do. Come on. There we go. That ought to do it. Oh, now it's going to let me skip the parking. Uh-huh. You. Wow. Okay. Man. This could be the longest video where nothing really happened ever. Let's see how we did. Good XP, good money. Folks, thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of American Truck Simulator. This is the Oregon DLC. It is available in the Steam store. We'll see you next time. Take care now.